collections are. That's just kind of how I do my shopping on Amazon now. I'll like find 3 or 4 products that I'll like, and I'll kind of scale it up. Like, okay, this is the cheapest one that I like, and then this is the most expensive one that I like, and what's the difference between the quality behind these products and why one's more expensive than the other. But for the most part, I'm not gonna lie. I've always gotten the mid-grade or the cheaper product on Amazon whenever the reviews are good, and I've always been satisfied. Like the microphone that I'm actually using to speak with right now, I got this bad boy for $39.99. It's like a metal retractable arm. It even has like LED lights that just kind of go on their own, and it's got a filter thing to where like it doesn't allow the voice to get distorted easily, which I don't know if it's working too well because earlier you were saying it was a little bit distorted. So who knows? Maybe the mic's not as good as I was thinking, but that's my process behind Amazon shopping.
The mic is working really well now, so it definitely is a good $30 or $40 mic. So
Epic. I think
definitely.
what was going on was my mic from the webcam was being activated earlier, and I saw in the settings that my fine tune mic wasn't clicked, so I just clicked it. And but but yeah, any other questions that you
Yeah.
want to fire
Oh
at me
yeah.
really
Oh
quick?
yeah. Are you more of a an air guitar guy or an air drums guy when you're just jamming out?
Guitar. Well, I
Okay.
don't know. It depends on the song. It depends on the song. Because whenever that song comes on, doo-doo, 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 I can feel it calling me. Oh yeah, I'm a drum guy on that one. But whenever you got really cool guitar strums going on, like Aerosmith and stuff like that, like the classic rocks. I'm totally doing an air guitar. So I don't know. I'm a 50-50. I hate to kind of be that guy to where I ride both sides of the bus, but I got to on this one. That's a hard question.
All right. Yeah, I'm more of a drums guy myself, but yeah, interesting. All right. Would you rather owe money or owe a favor?
I'd rather owe a favor, always. I I'm always the type of person to where you never borrow what you can't essentially pay back quickly. So in my mind, it's kind of like I never typically want to owe money because I'm always going to be able to pay it back quickly. So I'd always want to like owe a favor or like be owed a favor in a sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I got you. I'm right there with you. Next question, fiction or nonfiction?
Um, nonfiction. I had to think about that. It's one of those words to where it's like a tongue twister in your head at first.
Yep. Yeah.
But yeah, totally factual stuff. That's what I'm all about. But I do like non-fictional based things like especially metaverses. I totally vibe with not with fictional writings like based upon stuff that's fake and not factual, not 100% true. Because there's just something about being able to give the power to the hands of a community in a metaverse and utilize a DAO to kind of tweak the lore behind a gaming infrastructure.
Gotcha. All right. Interesting take. The Bitcoin or Ethereum?
Bitcoin. I love Ethereum, don't get me wrong. It's really cool that they have all these different layer two solutions. Um, but at the end of the day, in my opinion, when it comes down to different blockchains that are going to provide scalability, there's always going to be one that comes out that's better. And I'm not saying that Ethereum's not good, don't take me wrong. I'm just saying like when I look at blockchains predominantly as far as a maximalist perspective, when people ask me that question, I mostly look for storage of value. And whenever people ask me about blockchains for specific features, um, then it's always changing. You know what I mean? Like for gaming protocols, I much prefer Matic over Ethereum, which I understand is just another layer to Ethereum. It's like essentially built on top of it, and it allows the transactions to roll to be initiated outside the main net, and that's why it's so cheap with Matic. But that's kind of like my feelings behind Bitcoin or Ethereum. I'm always going to choose Bitcoin because it was the very first one created, and it's just a great storage of value. And I believe in all the protocols that were established for the Bitcoin blockchain. Um, and yeah, Ethereum. It's not that I don't like it. I totally like it over a lot of other blockchains for specific use cases. But if you ask me overall, it's not Ethereum for me. You know what I mean?
All right. Yeah, no, I agree with you on that one, and I think my portfolio holdings say so as well. Like 80% in Bitcoin.
Nice, nice, yeah. Likewise, I got a lot of Bitcoin for the storage of value part of things, and as far as like alts and other things that just have smaller percentages.
Yeah. Well, with that being said, how about VeChain or Ethereum? Because I know you guys are launched on VeChain.
That's a hard one. I'm gonna have to say VeChain, just because, in my opinion, VeChain can enable everybody to do what they need to do that they're currently doing on Ethereum. It's just nobody's built the protocols yet, or the token standards that enable it to be done easily, like without struggle. In other words, people have to develop those protocols to where other people that are looking to build it can go use that open source tool and enable those features in their ecosystem with ease. It's possible, it just has to be done first, you know? So there's totally a lot more building left for VeChain to be on the scale of Ethereum for scaling for businesses that want to build on a blockchain. But as far as tracking and all that type of stuff, like authenticity, tracking goods that get shipped and whatnot on the blockchain, VeChain's 100% one of the most widely used blockchains in comparison to all the other ones. Walmart utilizes it, for example, for all their shipments. The UFC partnered recently with VeChain to utilize their blockchain for fee delegation in the low fee infrastructure and multiple other features as well. But yeah, I'm gonna choose VeChain.
All right. Yeah, that's super interesting stuff. That's one of the chains that I definitely need to do more research into. So,
Um,
yeah, interesting.
I can give a little bit of information about it really quick if you want.
Yeah, if you're open to it, sure.
Yeah, so like kind of in short, the way that VeChain works in a sense is when you sign a smart contract on the blockchain, you have to pay in the gas token, and the gas token is VTHO. So every time that you sign a smart contract, you're paying VTHO. You're not paying VET, which is how it is on Ethereum. You know, whenever you pay for a contract, a smart contract, you're required to pay a large amount of Ethereum for the gas because there's a lot of congestion, a lot of transactions trying to be approved. So there's a lot of backlogs on the miners who are validating those transactions, and that's why sometimes it might take slower on Ethereum versus VeChain. A transaction on VeChain can happen super quick, like under 10 seconds, and it costs under a couple pennies to make that transaction versus um, tens of dollars or like 40s of dollars or 80s of dollars, depending on how big the smart contract is that you're signing and the clauses within. You know, the bigger the contract, the more gas you have to pay because the throughput is higher. But that's VeChain in a nutshell. As you hold VeChain tokens, you get VTHO daily. It's like a certain formula function. I want to say it's like for every 1,000 VeChain you hold, or like every 3,000 VeChain, you get one VTHO or something like that. But it's on a decimal fractionalization, so you could hold even a fraction of a VeChain, and technically your wallet address will be accumulating VTHO. You know what I'm saying? So it's really well thought out, and they also have the capability to adjust their gas metrics on the blockchain, like such as how much VTHO would be required per clause. Because in the past, all the projects that were building on the blockchain, whenever we had the bull run, excuse me, the price just shot up of VTHO, and it started to become quite expensive to just sign regular contracts. Like, and when I say expensive, I mean like let's say 5 pennies or like 7 pennies, right? It's still really cheap, but expensive compared to a penny or like a penny and a half. So that's whenever all the projects reached out to the foundation, they were like, guys, you know, it's going to be hard for us to keep building on the blockchain if it keeps increasing in price and y'all don't have a way to keep it low, because one of the main features is multi-payment protocol for VeChain, to where people can delegate the fees to where the customer and the client doesn't have to pay those blockchain fees. So so yeah, that's basically VeChain in a nutshell. It has the VTHO, and by holding VeChain, you naturally produce the VTHO, and you could use that to pay for the transactions and all the signing of the smart contracts that you use on your wallet on the blockchain.
Gotcha. Yeah. Interesting stuff. I will 100% be doing more research into that. But yeah, I appreciate you sharing.
Yeah,
Next,
anytime.
yeah. Next question is which one do you dislike more? Crazy fast drivers or super slow drivers?
Super slow. Like, I do get startled every now and then if there's a super fast driver that zooms by me, or like the ones who do things intentionally to where they just zoom by you, like, and cut it close to your bumper, and they didn't have to. Like, they had plenty of room. They could have just like waited to do that. That does irk me, but there's nothing more than a slow driver that irks me most. I don't know. Yeah, especially the ones who are in the fast lane, man. It's like if they're in the fast lane and they're going 7 under the speed limit, it's like, dude, come on. I don't know.
Yeah, that aggravates me as well. Physical work or mental work?
Um, Sorry, I missed the first part of the question. What about the physical or mental? Which one do I prefer?
Yes.
I'd prefer mental work over physical work any time of the day. It's not that I'm opposed to physical work, just to give some background information on myself. My family in the past, we owned an airport rehabilitation company, and we'd travel across the world and we'd rehabilitate airport runways like, the Dallas airport or the Miami airport or an airport in Ecuador, etc. And I'd always be outside. Um, Routing cracks with big machines or on my hands with like a shariki blade, just basically getting the grass out, using big equipment, sealing cracks, painting the runways, all sorts of stuff. So I've done plenty of different types of manual labor growing up. I even worked during the BP oil spill. I don't know if any of y'all are familiar with that, but that was a big catastrophe that happened. I forget around the years that was back whenever I was around, shit, 14 years old. 14, 15 years old. So what's that? That's like 12, 13 years ago. Um, yeah, so I've done a lot of different work in the field, like just doing different types of manual labor, but I much prefer using my brain to work. There's just something about using the creative side and just getting the juices flowing. I don't know, it just feels more rewarding um doing mental work over physical work.
Gotcha. Yeah, definitely interesting. I like both. Think that both of them are very rewarding, especially depending on like the type of mental work that you're doing. Because you could be like doing math homework. I mean, that's a lot of mental work, but is that really super rewarding? Sorry, vegan dad. I know you're a teacher in the chat, a math teacher, so no shade to math homework, but but yeah, no, they're both rewarding in their own way, so definitely interesting. But yeah, let's dive into the meat and potatoes of things. So I'm curious to hear, like, tell us a little bit about what Safe Haven does and the real world solutions that you guys are solving.
Yeah, so we provide a range of solutions, all B2B2C, business to business to client. And essentially, we enable those businesses to also integrate our solutions to where their clients can utilize those solutions on their product platforms without essentially having to come to ours fully, right? And just to get into all the different services, we could start off with Inheritee. Inheritee, it's our military grade inheritance and personal backup platform where people can essentially go and set up a decentralized inheritance or personal backup plan. And it utilizes our patented protocols, and our protocols are patented in the United States and Europe, with China soon to be patented as well. And it's really unique. The way that it works is when a user goes to our platform, they have to set up a Safe ID account, and that's essentially like their direct access to the platform and to essentially initiate the process of starting plans. And once they have that set up and they log in and they decide which plan they want to set up, all of the critical data, such as mnemonic phrases or user account information like login and password to a centralized exchange can be inputted within the inheritable data dialog box. And all that data gets encrypted utilizing military grade encryption, which is AES 256 for those of you who are wondering what type of encryption that is. And after all of that data, the inheritable data gets encrypted, it gets fragmented into multiple different shares. And that's where our, excuse me, let me mute that.
That's all good. No worries.
All right, so in the inheritable data dialog box, after the military and grade encryption occurs to where all the data gets encrypted with AES 256, it gets fragmented into multiple different shares. And all those shares are primarily stored within our SafeKey cold storage devices. Um, while there's also the validator and backup shares stored on the blockchain. So essentially, after the owner of a state is done setting up their inheritance plan, they'll plug in these SafeKey devices. And they're pretty much a USB device, right? So you plug in the USB device and then you initiate a PIN code. And that PIN code is going to be required by your beneficiary, like your heir that's receiving that safe key, to input that code whenever they go to retrieve the inheritable data with their other siblings or family with the other beneficiaries. And essentially, whenever everybody meets up with the merge authority, who is in charge of initiating the inheritance to all the beneficiaries, they're going to be required to plug in those devices. And after they type in those PIN codes that you set up for them, the plan shares are going to get unlocked on their SafeKey devices. And when the system recognizes that all the plan shares are together with the exception of the validator share, it's going to go to the blockchain and try to link up with that validator share. And when it sees that it's locked, the system sends the dead man switch to the owner of a state's account. And that's another layer of security that prevents the beneficiaries of the merge authority from obtaining the inheritable data prematurely. Because let's say you were still alive and they all got together and they combined their plan shares and they were trying to get that validator share to link up. Well, if you were, let's say, on vacation or really busy, you wouldn't want them to be able to unlock that data, right? So while you're setting up your inheritance plan, there's a section called a dead man switch. And that's where you designate the amount of time that you want to establish for yourself to have to respond within like that designated time before the validator share unlocks. So like, let's say you put a 2 week DMS. Right whenever all your beneficiaries meet with that merge authority and they combine all their plan shares to try to unlock the validator share, you're going to have 2 weeks to respond to the email that's going to get sent to your email attached to your SafeID account, or you're going to have 2 weeks to log in to the SafeID platform. And doing either one of those two methods will essentially decline the unlocking of the validator share. And that way, nobody within your family or even the merge authority can combine all the plan shares completely and obtain the data, and everything remains hidden. So that's how Inherity works in a nutshell. Um, do you have any questions about Inherity before I talk about the other products? Because that was a lot of different stuff to cover.
No, I think you did a super, super good job of explaining what it is and why it is so secure, and I like the whole argument for it. So I'm definitely open to hearing about the other stuff that you guys have to offer too. I mean, that's super cool stuff.
Thanks. Yeah, and one other thing that I wanted to say, carrying off of the Inherit platform, such as how we're going to enable the barriers of mass adoption to be reduced and the use of ease for the features is rolling out Inherit Mobile. So Inherit Mobile is going to be a mobile application that your beneficiaries can download, and then they will log in with their Safe ID account that's whitelisted, and they'll be able to see their plan shares held in reserve in a decentralized vault that only they will have access to because it's whitelisted to their Safe ID account. And when they go in there to claim their plan shares, they establish their own PIN code. So you don't even have to establish a PIN code for their plan shares. And another cool feature is that it's kind of like a backup within itself because that beneficiary can decide to leave those plan shares in their decentralized vault where they claim them from. And let's say their phone gets destroyed, well, they can download the app on a new phone, log in, and since they never deleted the decentralized plan shares in their decentralized vault, they'd be able to claim them again. See what I'm saying? And they'd be able to download them on their phone. So like that's a secondary security backup feature that's going to be enabled. And of course, we also have the Safe Key desktop tool where people can back up their safe keys. So if somebody was concerned about, their youngest son possibly losing the safe key device or getting it destroyed because they just weren't responsible with it, then they could back up the youngest son's safe key device by getting, an extra, a spare safe key and backing it up via the desktop tool. So just wanted to kind of go over that just to let everybody know that there's multiple layers of security that we've thought about for our users and all of our protocols, they've been audited. We've had a bug bounty program been going on for the last year and a half plus. We're coming upon the second full year up in February, and we're going to extend the bug bounty program. But the reason why I brought it up is they haven't found any issues with our platform since it started. So that just kind of speaks for itself as far as how secure it is. And for those who don't know, the platform and the protocols were 100% developed by Jürgen Schut, and he is one of the lead security tech engineers at the European Parliament. So like they rely on him to develop all these Web3 smart contracts and Web2 infrastructure contracts and going over the infrastructure of databases in the sense to make sure that there's no vulnerabilities and that the European Parliament can't get hacked in a sense and stuff along that nature. So that's the type of person that built this platform, and I just wanted to put that out there because that's pretty strong in my opinion. Um,
Yeah, definitely. How long have you guys been working on this? Because I know you guys have been around for quite some time. Like you said, you've had that bug bounty program for over a year and a half. I mean, that's pretty impressive stuff, especially in the crypto space.
Thanks. Yeah. So SafeHaven's been around for over 4 years. I joined SafeHaven about 2 years ago in the summer of 2020. Um, and as far as Inheritee, how long it's been launched, the platform's coming up on its second full year. So in September 21st, yeah, September 21st, 2020, that was the launch date of Inheritee for the community edition.
Hey, that's my birthday.
Really, that's crazy, man. My
Yeah.
birthday. So we're both Virgo buddies.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so Safe Haven, we've been around for more than 4 years. We're coming up on 2 years that the Inherity platform's been live, and the protocols received their patents sometime last year. So we've had our patents instated for over 6 months now or a year. So all that stuff it just helps build credibility, and we've made tons of partner integrations over the last 8 months since the start of this year. And if anybody wants to dive into all the different ones, they can just go on our website, look at the news section, and just click the partners filter, and they'll be able to sift through all of them. But essentially, we're integrating Inherity with all of our partners so that their clients can just click on the button and then be brought to the Inherity platform and secure their digital wallet and digital assets. So as we roll out Inherity Mobile and other product platform extensions, we're going to start seeing a lot more people being able to utilize the features with ease rather than having to order the SafeKey devices and wait a month or longer to set up their plans.
Gotcha. Yeah. We do have a question in chat from Peter. He asks, do you see a need in the market for creating a ledger of investments of the numerous DeFi slash crypto slash NFTs some investors have? A product that takes blockchain info and lays out assets, entry points, and profits slash losses. Something about your suite of products reminds me of this.
Yeah, that's a great point, and they actually have some types of softwares out there that allow you to kind of look at your trade tracking and your portfolio tracking. Like you can extract your trades from exchanges and then import it in those softwares to kind of play around with numbers and stuff like that. But I haven't seen anybody try to come out with any Web3 applications that allow you to connect with your wallet specifically, and it will scan the whole wallet and do all those statistical analysis. Sorry, my computer kind of went out for a second, but I haven't seen one to where it'll do all those statistical analysis for you. Like if you connect your wallet, I haven't seen like a Web3 enabled software application built for that yet. So I agree that that's a big need in this industry, and I think that we're totally going to see people start to develop that if we haven't already seen it. Are we looking to develop something like that? Not currently. We have a lot of stuff that is on our development roadmap before we start to look to add anything else, such as Inheriting Mobile being number one. We want to get that launched up and out, but we're always willing to add new things to our product development roadmap, especially if the community wants us to add that to our roadmap. And we have some exciting stuff that's going to be launched over the upcoming weeks. I don't really want to put a deadline on it because currently, right now, everything's back and forth in discussions between both boards of advisors and whatnot with the partner that I'm referring to. But we've got something set up to where we're going to be rolling out Metaverse protection packages, which are essentially going to be a package that enables the clients to have everything that they need to enter a metaverse and start earning passive income streams of revenue, along with having the safe keys and the SHA tokens required to protect all those digital assets and establish a decentralized inheritance plan. So, hence the term Metaverse Protection Package. But the reason why I'm bringing that up is we're implementing like a utility protocol mechanism within that to where through the sales of the Metaverse Protection Packages, a percentage of the total profit will go towards funding the projects to receive funding on their DAO that they're going to be having. So it's a complete business strategy that we have being implemented that also refills the funding pool for the projects within their organization that are trying to get funded to implement Web3 protocols in their Web2 infrastructures, which will be our products. So as these businesses get the funding from the DAO, they'll be able to pay for integration of our services in a sense. So it'll be like an exponential thing that we're doing with this partner. As we provide these metaverse protection packages, we'll be able to also receive funding from funds raised for the businesses that need these solutions to be scaled within their infrastructures.
Got it. Yeah, you guys have quite the amount going on. It's super interesting to hear about all of it, and it definitely is not the typical project that we get in here. Because for reference, I don't know how much you guys have looked into us prior to coming on, but we have had probably 65 AMAs up to this point, and they're all like super deep in the DeFi space, at least the projects that we have on, apart from like two or three, including you guys. So it's definitely interesting to see what you guys are doing, and rather than just like, oh, here's my token, here's the tokenomics, this is why we're going to be sustainable. Like, it's definitely a totally different conversation. So it's definitely interesting.
Man, I appreciate all the nice remarks, and it's a pleasure to be on here. I'm enjoying the heck out of it so far. And one thing that I didn't talk about, speaking about tokenomics, it requires 10,000 tokens to establish an inheritance plan, and there's utility protocols behind that. So 50% goes to the foundation for the product that they've built and whatnot, and then 40% goes towards the nodes, the utility node reward pool. So essentially, 3,998 SHA will be sent towards the wallet that collects the utility rewards from all SafeHaven product platforms. And then once it's a sufficient amount, it'll be sent out to be shared by all the nodes within our community based upon the sharing mechanisms that we have implemented. And just to go over those really quick, a connect node, it requires people to have 1 million SHA, and they equally share 3% of that utility reward pool with all other matured connect nodes. The harbor node is 2.5 million SHA, and they share 8% of that reward pool with all other matured harbor nodes. Consensus is 10 million SHA, and they share 32% of that reward pool with all other matured consensus nodes. And then the last but not least, the biggest node of them all, the legacy. That one, it takes 30 million SHA to have it, and it allows the holder to share 57% of the utility reward pool with all other matured legacy node holders. So that's essentially how the foundation rewards the holders within our ecosystem that have nodes. They share portions of the fees that are derived from the utilization of all of our DeFi platforms. So I just wanted to kind of throw that out there because there's really not many projects that even have working products, let alone give direct value to their token with patented protocols like patented products, right? So that's why the Safe Haven token exists, to power these platforms. And and yeah, we also have other platforms too, and I'm gonna get into those in a little bit. I just wanted to make sure that everything was covered with Inherity, our flagship product, before I moved on to the other ones.
Yeah, for sure. We do have one question in chat from Title. He asks, "How are you going to market this project?" And adding on to that, I think that what you guys are doing is super super cool. Don't get me wrong, but a lot of people outside of the crypto space might be like, "Why would I want something on the blockchain? Isn't that like a scam or like I don't know?" Like a lot of people are just like very skeptical of blockchain. And what's your plan on integrating or reaching out to those people and getting them on board, or is the plan kind of just to grow as the blockchain space grows? Is
Well, all right. So, given a little bit of history about Safe Haven and just the growth in general, we've never had a seed sale like most of the other projects. We've never offered percentages of the intellectual property that we own of the whole product suite. And that's going to be coming up soon, whether it's towards the end of this year or the start of next. We're working on basically finalizing all product platforms, making them user friendly, rolling out product platform extensions like Inheriting Mobile, getting everything 100% ready. And once we do that, the valuation of the total company will be much greater because it's more user friendly. And after we do the seed sale, amongst many other things, it'll allow us to raise capital that's really, really large. And whenever we get to that point, that's whenever we're going to initiate the hiring of mass marketing agencies that specialize in taking a whole white paper, website, pitch decks, everything that the business has to offer, and breaking it up into 20 different targeting audiences or more, as crazy as that sounds, like different age groups, like teenagers, middle-aged 20s, all that type of stuff, ethnicities, religions, cultures, because each different region has a different way of receiving things, the way it's worded. So we'll hire a marketing agency like that, and they'll essentially do what they're paid to do, and they've been doing for many decades successfully, to explain how all of our products work. And as far as the fear of having stuff on the blockchain and whatnot, that's what's so beautiful about our solution. It allows you to have the majority of all the plan shares cold stored on the SafeKey devices if you rather, or whenever Inherit Mobile comes out, stored in the decentralized vault and mobile device hybrid, right? So it's really above that. It's not as far as like everything stored on the blockchain, because that would be unsafe in a sense if all plan shares were on the blockchain and whatnot. And we always tell people whenever they're making backup shares, ensure that you never make too many backup shares so that one beneficiary or merger authority could act fraudulently and utilize the backup shares on the blockchain to replace the other people. So in other words, if you had three beneficiaries in a merge authority, you wouldn't want to create like three or four backup plan shares on the blockchain because then one of those person or one of those beneficiaries or the MA could go in and use their plan share with the backups and then trigger the validator share. And there's the DMS. They're still going to have to wait for the owner of a state to not respond to that. So extra layer of security there. But yeah, that's why you never want to make too many backup shares whenever you're creating your inheritance plan. And we have all this information on our FAQ, within our inheritance FAQ and other websites, just in case if people are kind of thinking through their head, well, man, now I've got all these different questions. I don't really know where to start. Well, go to the inheritance FAQ. You'll probably see a bunch of questions that are going through your head that have already been answered. And if not, feel free to start a new thread, do a new question, and somebody from the team will be there ASAP to answer it.
Awesome. Yeah, you guys have, like I said, a lot going on, and definitely an interesting plan to get that to a wider audience, especially with that ultra targeted marketing. You said that 20 different targeted audiences. I think a lot of projects, especially like deep in the DeFi space, their marketing is like almost non-existent, or they haven't even thought about it yet. And I think that is definitely huge to have a plan in place and then actually be able to execute well on that plan itself. So again,
Yeah.
kudos to you guys for that.
Thanks, man. And one thing that I do want to touch on is we haven't started any mass marketing whatsoever. And anybody who's in our community, they'll tell you that first and foremost. All of our marketing that we've done has just been stuff from the team, the community help sharing, get the message out there, the articles that we release from an official standpoint. But we've never had a marketing agency, as I was mentioning earlier, that literally takes all the articles and stuff that the team provides and breaks it apart and provides it in many different ways. But it's coming soon. In the next quarters or coming up quarters. I don't want to make y'all think it's coming in the next couple weeks. It never works like that. But I'm just excited because whenever you enable mass marketing on that scale, especially with the addition of these platform extensions like Inheritee Mobile to enable people to make plans in one day versus having to wait a month for their safe key to come in. That's whenever the fireworks go off in my head and I just get really excited. But right now, everybody's just gonna have to bear with us and just keep waiting patiently as we continue to develop the ecosystem, finalize the product platforms, and prepare for that seed sale. Because the better everything is before we do a seed sale, the more we can valuate the shares of the company.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And the last question I had regarding the inheritance plan is: have you guys had uh, a good amount of people sign up for them, or I'm kind of curious to go about the demand?
Yeah, so there's been a lot of different questions from our community members as far as how to utilize the service and as far as how many plans we've had created so far. It's around like 320 something, 350, somewhere around there. And though that might not sound like a lot because like I was saying earlier, we've had Inherity Live since September of 2020. The reason why it's so low is because everybody has to utilize the SafeKey devices. So they have to order them, they have to wait for them to come in, and then they have to figure out how to utilize them, because like I was saying, you got to plug them in, press it, then you got to input the PIN codes. There's a couple steps to it. So it's not the most user friendly for the everyday user who doesn't have as much technology information like FIDO2 tech, knowing how to utilize a FIDO2 device, because that's what the safe key is. It's a FIDO2 U2F device that also enables SSD protocols, the secure sharing distribution protocols. I don't know if I cut out my screensaver went up, but the secure shares saving distribution protocols. But I lost my train of thought because the dang computer went out. What were we talking about, brother? My bad.
The amount of demand that you guys have for the plans.
Yeah. So we've had around like 350 or so plans made so far, but it's mostly because it's hard for people to get their hands on the devices in a sense, because they got to order them, wait for them to come in. And it's not that they're out of stock. We have some in stock. We did go out of stock for a couple weeks because there was a big demand of people ordering them at one point whenever we had a lot of hype coming in. Um, but yeah, I'm really excited for Inherit Mobile because that's going to enable everybody to have impulse plan creation. And what I mean by that, because that kind of sounds weird, impulse plan creation. So it's kind of like a strategy that we can work out with partners. All the integrations, for example, like one of our partners, Stoner Punks, they have an Inherity referral link integration on their website and in their Discord. And when one of their community members makes a plan, they'll get rewarded with this special NFT from their ecosystem for essentially protecting all the NFTs, right? So what we can do is we can roll out campaigns that say, all right, within this week, anybody who establishes an Inherity plan via our referral link, talking about the partner, then you'll get this other unique reward, or like the first 10 people to make an Inherity plan during this week. Stuff like that. Like certain marketing strategies will be able to be implemented because everybody will be able to make the plan that day with Inherity Mobile.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I think that 350 inheritance plans is not a small number. Like if you would have told me to go out and sell 350 plans, I would have said you're crazy. But yeah, no, that's I think that's a lot, but definitely something that would be one of those products that's like that grows significantly through word of mouth and just time and quality. I think definitely. But yeah, it's interesting. So I'm curious to hear what other stuff you guys got going on as well.
Yeah, so let's jump right into it. Another big product that we're really, really excited and proud about, the whole team, just every different employee within departments of Safe Haven, from obviously the tech because they're the ones who like make it all work, but the communications department, the partnership department, everybody, they've just been working their asses off. Excuse my French, but they've been working their asses off just handling everything involved with Safe Swap because there's a lot of stuff involved with Safe Swap that people don't even realize, such as reaching out to partners, seeing if they want to get integrated and whatnot, explaining the whole usability, communicating it to the clients and community members within the community to where they can understand it in layman terms because we're talking about something pretty sophisticated here, atomic swapping protocols. And it's really good to talk about because there's been countless bridge attacks with these wrap token bridging protocols, hundreds of millions of dollars being shown up all over Twitter. You know, this platform getting hacked for 500 million plus, this one getting hacked for 100 million or 200 million. And that's what SafeSwap avoids in a sense, not only for us, but any project that wants to integrate within and port to utilize the services. So what is SafeSwap in a nutshell for those of you who are wondering? Well, SafeSwap allows a project to essentially tell their community members, you can take the tokens on one blockchain, lock them up in a pool so that you can unlock the same amount of tokens on another blockchain and utilize our protocols over there. And what would that look like from a use case scenario? Well, we would tell our clients, go to SafeSwap, connect your wallet, swap 10,000 SHA VIP 180 tokens over to SHA Matic tokens, and then go create your Inheritee plan on the Matic blockchain instead of the VeChain blockchain. So then, whenever they sign a smart contract and they're using Inheritee protocols on Matic, they wouldn't be paying with VTHO anymore. They'd be paying with Matic tokens because it's a Matic based token. And that's the power behind SafeSwap. It enables projects to become liquid like water, enables them to go to any EVM blockchain desired while still keeping the tokenomics intact without having to risk hacking or increasing or dilution of their total supply because there's so many different ways to go cross chain nowadays. I mean, it all started with the parachain method and methods to where essentially people literally just mint their whole supply on another blockchain without specific locking protocols. So it's basically like doubling their supply in a sense. Those were the ones that ended up like not making it a lot in the beginning. But then you started seeing the bridges come out that predominantly focused on cross-chain via wrap tokens, so that essentially they say this token has value because it's backed by these assets, and that's what a wrap is in a sense. They create a brand new token and they put a W in front of the ticker to let it stand for a wrap token. And then the assets backing those wrap tokens are another, like whether it be USDT or BUSD or DAI or whichever type of stable-ish asset you want to go with, right? To back it. That's what's making all these bridges acceptable because their contracts aren't set up to where it allows only the wallet to connect to those pools. Whereas that's how our atomic swapping protocols are set up. It's an atomic swap. Only the wallet that's connecting to lock up tokens can unlock tokens from another pool. That's how the atomic swapping protocols work. Whereas those bridges that have the wrapping, multiple other people can provide liquidity. You're relying on multiple parties for trust. Um, and it's a smart contract set up to where it's acceptable to those wormhole attacks because it's got multiple levels of entry in a sense. Whereas the atomic swapping, it's just a one for one. If you're swapping 10,000 tokens, you're locking 10,000 to unlock 10,000. And it's that exact token minted on the blockchain that's locked by pooling contracts. It's not a wrapped token in a sense, like a I hate to say it like this, but a fake token to represent the real token that's backed by liquidity, right? Because that's all a wrap token is. It's a fake token of the real token that's backed by liquidity to allow it to retain that value on another blockchain. And it's just unsafe, and it's proven time and time over again. And that's why a lot of people are coming to ask us about SafeSwap's protocol. We actually have another token going live soon for SafeSwap. They'll be able to let their community utilize the protocols and swap cross chain with safe protocols. But do you have any questions about SafeSwap though? Because I did cover a lot, like as far as the attacks and like the usability features.
Yeah, yeah. First of all, like atomic bridging, from my understanding, like bridging is by no means my strong suit of understanding in the crypto space, but I've heard many, many good things about that method of bridging, of minting and burning rather than having those wrapped tokens. And like you said, it makes your bridge less susceptible to attacks, and there's just like less that can go wrong. So definitely a cool option. So like, what is kind of the cost to you guys to set all of that up?
Man, it was a lot. It took us over a year to excuse me one second. It took us over a year to develop all the protocols and get the developers to develop everything. And when I say developers, I mean back end developers, front end developers. We actually have our front end developer of SafeSwap in the chat with us right now. Shout out to Ricky Shellman, Ricardo. How you doing, brother? But yeah, he did the whole GUI front user interface of SafeSwap, like essentially what you see, the designing, and when you click on something, it allows an interaction to where a smart contract gets pulled up to be signed. That's what Ricardo did. So like all those different developers that just took their time to create the platform, it was costly. I mean, I don't want to put a actual number on it just for like proprietary reasons. I don't want the founders getting pissed off at me, saying how much it cost to build the platform and all that stuff. But it was expensive. It was totally well above like low six digit. It was up there to build that thing. A lot of money to build it. But the good news is it's built now, and the protocols are in state. They're audited. Everything's smooth. Everything works. So now we can not only leverage the protocols. Sorry, the screen went out again. Now we can not only leverage the protocols for ourselves, but we could also partner with other projects and allow them to leverage the atomic swapping protocols to where that they don't have to go out and spend a year and a half, 2 years to go build this platform. They could just pay the porting fee, the listing fee, and then come gain instant support. And just to kind of throw it out there, the main reason why we created SafeSwap was for our own ecosystem itself. As I was given the example earlier, that we would tell our community members, go swap your VeChain tokens for Matic tokens to where you can use the Inherity platform on the Matic blockchain. That's the primary reason why we created SafeSwap, to where all of our products can essentially port to other blockchains. Because in this space, you see it all the time. There's maximalists, right? Yes, this guy who doesn't want to use Ethereum based on products because he's all about this other blockchain, I don't know, Cardano or Avalanche or whatever it might be. Um, and we are basically setting ourselves up. I mean, we have not setting ourselves up. Like we've already accomplished it to where now we can go cross chain with our tokens. So the next step would be establishing smart contracts on those other blockchains, essentially migrating our inheritance contracts to those blockchains to where it's possible for people to start using the tokens on that blockchain with that solution. But yeah, it's just good that we took the step to make it on our own because we don't have to rely on other people to provide those services, and that's the main reason why we built it. But why not provide the service to everybody else if they need it as well? So
Yeah, definitely. So, what is the process for somebody to utilize that bridge and that service? Because I know for Chain Estate and Cardinal token, like going cross chain sometime in the future, like that's definitely in the playbook. So, we're kind of scoping around for options as far as different bridges to utilize. Like, what's the best, safest, most efficient, and cheapest option, and kind of weighing those together. So, what would be that process for you guys?
yeah, so there's just like a little listing process. There's a fee involved depending on which token or which chain you're wanting to implement to. Um, but it's fairly reasonable. It's not much compared to how much you have to pay for multiple listings on exchanges and whatnot. So, all right, for example, whenever you go to an exchange to list, like a centralized exchange, if you want to have like another chain added for support for your token or like another pairing, like a certain bridge, sometimes it could cost upwards of 75,000, 150,000, $250,000 per listing, like for the chain that you want the token on. So that right there is already a shot to the gonads, right? But if you're supported on SafeSwap, then what you could do is you could easily swap over to the other blockchain and list on that exchange in that token format type to where you can avoid those listing fees. So like when you look at it from the outward looking in, all the money that you save from going cross chain via SafeSwap in the long run outweighs the minute money that you spend in the beginning. Especially when you look at all the clients that you can adopt by going to different blockchains, by providing liquidity on different dexes. So like, let's say you go to Binance Smart Chain because SafeSwap provides Binance Smart Chain. So you go over to PancakeSwap and you put up a little bit of liquidity, maybe start a staking pool there to entice people who are constantly using PancakeSwap to look into your ecosystem. So many different marketing and business scaling strategies can be implemented for those who essentially have access to SafeSwap's protocols. And that's why like the minute fee is really reasonable when you look at all the benefits that come with it.
Gotcha. Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's so many benefits to going cross chain that you just mentioned, and like I said, it's definitely in the playbooks for both of our tokens in the future. But yeah, I appreciate you explaining that. Is there anything else in the whole safe haven ecosystem that we haven't touched up on yet?
We've actually got two other products, but I mean, I can go over those pretty briefly. They they're like in-depth products, but it doesn't take as long to explain them as the other two. So Thorblock, it's essentially a DeFi platform that allows people to connect with their wallet and establish charity, fundraising, crowdfunding, or ICO pooling services. Like, so they can essentially set up a smart contract that allows them to set up a pool for raising, let's say, VeChain tokens for a charity or a fundraising or a crowdfunding event, or raising VeChain tokens to start your ICO. Like, you're basically saying, if you put up this much money, then you're promised this many tokens for the amount that you put up. So that's what Thorblock allows, and um, it could be leveraged by the community. It doesn't have to be leveraged by just the business itself that wants to integrate the product. And that's where the charity fundraising and crowdfunding pooling primarily comes into play for the community. Um, and the ICO pooling, it's mostly for businesses that are looking to get into Web3. They already have a business established in the real world, like with Web2 protocols and websites, but they don't have a utility token yet, and they want to easily implement one and have like discount services and whatnot. Well, we essentially show them this product and we tell them, well, you can go to your traditional investors, tell them, look, download this wallet, set it up, go to go to Coinbase, hurry up, deposit some money, and then send that money over this wallet. And then you could provide liquidity to this pool to get a portion of our token if you want to come into the digital realm too. So, like, this is basically a product that allows businesses to have their foot in the Web3 door, along with giving their community a foot within the Web3 door to raise funds. And I'm really excited about this one. With the partner that I was talking about earlier that has the 5+ million businesses within their community that we're going to be partnering with to where they could utilize these solutions if they want to. So it's going to be like 5 million plus businesses, all that need these solutions, and they could choose whichever one they want or all of them to integrate them. So that's why I'm really excited about Thorblock, because I see this being a big thing for those traditional businesses, because they're all Web2 traditional businesses not into crypto already. So Thorblock, a lot of people kind of sleep on it in our community, but it's totally going to be one that's going to spread its wings soon, in my opinion. But the last product is ThorPay. And that's essentially a multi-chain payroll application enabling multi-payment protocol services that implement all or nothing clauses to protect overcharges and missed payments to businesses. Now, that's a lot to like digest. So, in short, essentially what it does is it allows you to pay all your employees and your business in cryptocurrency with the click of one button. That's it. It's like a specialized Excel spreadsheet that's coded to allow each field to have a wallet address. That's your employee. Like, think of them as a wallet address. I hate to say that, but think of your employee as a wallet address in this example. And then in the field next to it, you have the amount of the cryptocurrency that they're receiving, which could be on any chain or any type, because we're going to look to leverage SafeSwap with ThorPay as we evolve the product. So that's ThorPay in a nutshell. It allows these Web2 businesses to shift into Web3 payment infrastructures with the click of one button. And the fancy jazz implement all or nothing clauses to protect overcharges and missed payments. What that means is, let's say you click that button, but Nancy didn't get paid out of all the 30 people. Nancy's going to be pissed, right? Well, this all or nothing clause prevents Nancy from getting pissed. Because if one doesn't get sent, then all of them won't get sent. The system will say, wait, Nancy's not getting paid whenever you're clicking this button. So I'm going to type up this error as like a computer AI, right? And then send it to the business and say, there's an error in this transaction. Please fix before sending payroll. And then, after you go in and you fix it, and then the system knows is that all wallet addresses will 100% receive their payment on delivery with no problem, then it'll allow it to go through. So that's what that means in a nutshell. Oh shit, I forgot about one other product. But Zach, is that good on Thorblock and ThorPay? Did you have any questions on those?
Um, I would say they sound really cool, like definitely something interesting. But if you want to quickly go into your other product, go right ahead.
Yeah, okay. So really quick, fun request. It's an open source platform enabling businesses to outsource Web3 development via GitHub. And after all smart contracts are completed to satisfactory, the developer is paid the amount agreed upon during the bid request process. So like, this is another product that's going to be great for those Web2 businesses trying to build Web3 protocols or implement them. They don't have any knowledge about how to create smart contracts. Like, Right. So what they could do is they could go to fund request and essentially type a message saying, "Hey, we're trying to implement this CRM feature or this user-friendly feature within our platforms. Anybody who wants to do the GitHub coding that knows how to do the Web3 smart contract development can do it starting at this price." And the way that it works is basically everybody just keeps bidding, and whichever bid is the best gets accepted, and then after they're done completing the developmental work behind the smart contracts on GitHub and the owner of the request approves it, then the payment's taken out of the owner of request's wallet and sent to the developer's wallet upon approval. So it's basically like the fiber of the blockchain, bro. You outsource stuff to people to develop, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Actually, we have an item similar to that in our roadmap too. Not necessarily specific to developers, but like any service that a project owner might need. So I definitely see the need for that. And we actually have a question in the chat from a Mano Miner. I hope I said the name right. He asked, what makes this product different than 100 Days Ventures? So if you don't know what 100 Days Ventures is they are essentially a business launchpad that will take a Web 2 business and be like, okay, this is exactly how we can integrate you into the blockchain, utilizing our services, our expertise, our connections to give you a Web 3 product. So I guess it would be hard to quite go over the details about how that would be different since there's, I could
No,
talk about them for hours, but
no, I've got it. So like basically from the sounds of it, they're a business that leverages their connections, their partnerships, who have patented solutions or non-patented solutions that provide those solutions to the customers, right? So that entity would essentially look to partner with us to where they could provide all these solutions that we covered today to the people that are coming to them to build their businesses. Kind of like what I was talking about with the initiative we're doing with that partner that has 5 million plus business owners. Like that's not something that we just went out and tried developing as a service, like incubation, like incubating businesses. It's always been our plans to integrate our solutions within business products to provide their clients with these solutions and add utility to our token. So like we're always integrating our solutions with anybody who partners with us. But whereas we're different is we're not looking to incubate a business by providing solutions that we don't offer. In other words, we're not going to, I mean, I hate to say it like this, but we're just not in the service to go out of our way to reach into our um, partnership network and say, this partner provides that service, you know what I mean? For that, like we're not trying to incubate businesses. We're just trying to provide the services that we provide to those businesses that need them. Because it's two separate things in a sense, right? Business incubation versus providing your products and making partnerships with other entities to provide your solutions to their clients to where that entity doesn't have to go build it themselves and spend the millions of dollars and years patenting it, you know?
yeah, that definitely makes sense. And yeah, speaking of which, I could connect you with Arsh, the CEO over at 100 Days, if you're interested. I mean, there could be something there.
That'd be epic, man. I'd love to get connected. Because I mean, really, we're the type of business to where as we partner with people, we it's like both businesses help each other. It's like our solutions help the community of that business get done what they need to in the DeFi space. First and foremost, the decentralized inheritance and personal backup solution. But then all the other ones that we talked about, like the cross chain with SafeSwap, the fundraising, ThorBlock, the multi payroll, ThorPay, and the open source platform with outsourcing Web3 development via fund requests.
Yeah, for sure. I will definitely connect you guys. I just sent you a friend request if you get time to accept that after this AMA. But no, I'm looking forward to it. There's so many opportunities to work together in this space, and I think a lot of people, at least in the bull run, they're kind of viewing each other as competitors. and trying to beat each other out rather than figure out ways to work together and kind of stay in each other's own lane, or not each other's own lane, but their own lane, and then outsource that other stuff to the other projects that have kind of that lane figured out already rather than doing it themselves and kind of overstepping. I think lately, at least, the space has definitely evolved in that way. So always happy to help connect people and really see another amazing partnership flourish. So yeah,
Well,
definitely.
I appreciate the hookup, Zach. Thank you so much, man. And yeah, this has been great. I love AMAs like this. It's been very enlightening, and I'm excited to hear more about what we got going on with the AMAs. Any other questions, and just anything else that you really want to talk about.
Yeah, we are coming up a little over an hour now, so we usually like to keep the AMAs to just about an hour. But we do have one last comment in chat from Cyril Kier. He says you should connect them with KC Consulting as well, because there might be a potential partnership there.
That's
So
cool. Man, anybody that you have recommended or anybody within your community that wants to get us linked up with someone else, I just please let me know and we're going to reach out as soon as possible. We've got a lot of stuff going on with that partner that I was talking about early, so it's been inundating a lot of my time. I've been having meetings every night with them. I mean, because like what happens is we go through our review of everything that's essentially being proposed to be announced to both communities. And then after we go through that, they have to bring it to their board of directors because it's a huge entity. They've been around for decades. They're the largest of their type in the industry. I don't want to say too much to reveal their their actual name and all that, but yeah, that's why it's been taking so long. But I totally want to get on board with getting more partnerships and getting us linked up with other organizations to where we can start providing our solutions for everybody. And as soon as we get done revamping all of our product platforms and we have that seed sale, then we're going to be expanding our organization big time, and we'll be able to scale much more too. So I'm really excited to see any other connections that you have to bring to me, Zach. And if we've got any connections, I'm more than happy to bring them over to you as well.
yeah, for sure. And the last question in chat, speaking of partnerships, Benova asks, will you be partnering with any other international organizations?
Yes, 100%. So we actually provide white labeling solutions. So every solution that we provide has the chance to be white labeled by another entity, depending on what type of white labeling they want. For the entities that want exclusivity, like to where they're the only ones that can have a white label in that industry, that is, of course, a really hard one for us to commit to, and it would come with a big price tag because we have the only patented decentralized inheritance and personal backup protocols. So when we're talking about exclusivity, we don't really like that word because our outlook is we want to integrate with as many projects and platforms as possible so that we could provide the solution for as many people possible. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's it's really awesome to see us get our solutions integrated with all these other entities like partners.
Yeah, for sure. I think partnerships are definitely the way to go because it if you can provide value to somebody and they can provide value in return, then that's just like a phenomenal marketing or business growth plan that is at low to no cost to you. So I think partnerships are 100% the way to go.
And one thing that I just want to touch on briefly, so what we like to implement with our referral integrations for Inheritee is 5% flow back to the partner. For every plan that gets made through the partner's referral link, 5% of the service fee would go to the partner's wallet. And what that partner could do is essentially, take that and keep it as their partnership fee in a sense, or they could even implement protocols to where percentages of it go back to their community via utility protocols at quarterly distributions, depending on how many tokens or NFTs they hold or something, right? So we're always exploring stuff like that to kind of give back to the other entity as they're utilizing our services because like you, Zach, I don't believe in one-way streets. I don't want somebody giving me all this help and providing me these solutions if I can't return the favor back? Because that's just who I am. I don't know. I can't sleep at night if it's the other way around. Like I don't know. I don't like taking stuff and not being able to give something in return. It just feels weird. It weighs heavy on me, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I think a lot of people share that same feeling where you almost feel like you're in debt to somebody, and you just want to help them out if they provide value to you first. So yeah, definitely, it's a interesting business tactic that I think a lot of people have seen a lot of success with.
No doubt. And just to ask, were there any other questions that you had for me today, Zach?
Um, Scrolling through chat, I'm not seeing a whole lot of them that are at least relevant to the conversation we have now, but man, we could dive so much deeper into all the individual products that you guys have. So I don't think we have the time to open up each one of those rabbit holes, but no, as far as like overall questions, I suppose the last question I'll end up on is what has been the hardest part so far with getting to the point that you're at now and having the amount of partnerships and the connections and after being in business for 4 years with Safe Haven, I know you joined the team. I think it was 2 years ago. You said there's of course going to be the peaks and valleys. So curious to hear what's been like the biggest hurdle that you guys have had to get through.
I'd have to say downtime during auditing and development. Every time whenever you're trying to get a new extension put out or get a brand new platform put out, it it seems to be the biggest growing pain phase. Because in the beginning, the community, they're always usually understanding, like, oh yeah, a couple more weeks. We can't basically say how the auditing's gonna go. It gets done when it gets done, right? And then after like a month, everybody starts getting upset, and then you got to keep telling them to be patient. But that's the most frustrating and biggest hurdle in this space is the audits behind developing because the development work, it typically doesn't take that long to add a new feature or whatnot, as long as you have the concept already planned out and it's written down, right? And everything's true in proof of concept. The longest part is always the auditing, and I'll just end it with this. So, quick example. Let's say we wanted to get a smart contract audited today. It wouldn't be possible. We'd have to call RedForSec, and that because that's who we use for our audits because they're like the most secure. And we'd have to wait 3 to 4 weeks just to get our smart contract audit review started because they had that long of a wait list because that many people use them. Then after that month waiting time of just to get started, it could take anywhere between 4 to 8 weeks for them to audit it because they spend that much time and ensure that it's good. So you're looking at already a minimum of 3 months just to get something approved from an audit. Now, let's take into consideration that the audit comes back and they say, we recommend that you tweak a few things just to make it even more secure. You don't have to, but we recommend it. No business is going to leave an audit like that. They're going to revisit it, they're going to go back in, fix those tweaks, and get the report that says this business did everything in their power to make it 100% secure and there are no invulnerabilities possible. And that's the hardest hurdle. Trying to explain that to the community and get them to understand it and be receptive of it. Because that's what it is at the end of the day. You can have the concept done, but it's all about the audits and whether or not the auditing company gives you a A plus plus, you know?
Yeah, no, that always sucks to have some downtime, and especially when you're going with that super secure route and having the long waits before you can even get the audit started. Like I feel your pain. I feel your pain.
Yeah, but it's all good, man. It's part of the space, and it's one of those things that's gonna hopefully speed up as the time goes on.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. And I think we'll see more and more secure auditing firms pop up because obviously there's demand for it, right? So I think the market will meet the demand.
Yeah. Well, man, Zach, I appreciate everything. All the questions were great, and I'd be more than happy to join you for another AMA in the future. Even have you in a Twitter space that we do in the future. Sometimes we do some Twitter spaces for our community, like sorry, I keep hitting the damn desk. But sometimes we do Twitter spaces for the community, like recaps of what we're doing, stuff that we got coming up, or just having partners on to discuss like our partnership integration and like what we're going to be doing in the future, just recaps of partners, all that type of stuff. So if you ever want to get together on Twitter Space or do another Cardinal Space like AMA, let me know, and I'd be more than happy to join. It's been a pleasure, brother.
Yeah, that sounds like a blast. Definitely have a lot to talk about with you guys. So 100% open to having you guys back on. But yeah, it was a pleasure.
All right, man. Well, you take it easy, and I guess till next time, right?
Yeah, for sure. And then to the audience, I appreciate you guys tuning in as always. I know taking the time out of your day to listen to what we have to say is always something that I do not take for granted. So appreciate each and every single one of you for tuning in.
Yes, likewise. Thank you so much for everybody coming and listen to what we have to say. And Zach, I am going to go into the Discord, accept that friend request, and we'll get to talking about those other partners that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Take care, everybody.